Alrighty, so we had some questions on how to actually, like, deal with this. Yes, so this is number 3 off of the homework. Alright, so when you go through and do this, we said that the cubic, I think, was the best fit on that one. Yes. So run your cubic regression, and when you do that, so stat, calc, cubic's number 6. When you go to do that, go down here to store regression equation. Oops, too far. And make sure you store it in your y equals. Okay? And if you've got an 83, I'll show you how to do this in 1 second. But you hit vars, go over to y vars. It's a function, y1. Alright, what this does is it saves this regression equation, which is 96.7% accurate. And it saves it right up here. Alright, so here's my lovely little equation. Now for part E, it says all human life will die off if this molecule ever reaches 10 parts per billion. So to find out where they intersect, I'm going to hit 10 right here. And let me make sure plot 1 is off. I'm going to graph it. My window's obviously way messed up. So X goes from 1980, and then we're looking into the future, so let's go 2500 for a year. And we'll scale it by 100s. Now the Y min, I can just set as like -2, but my Y max, I want it to be like 12, because remember 10 is where all human life dies off. So now that I've got that all messed with, see my lovely little graph? I can find that intersection point just using the calculator. Okay, do you remember how to do that? Yes, no? So if you don't, remember it's under second calc. Intersection is number 5. Remember we did max and mins? So I'm going to use number 5. And then you want to look for where your little bug is, that little blinky thing. So see, here's my Y. I'm off the graph. Like, I personally enjoy having my bug somewhere I can see him. Hit enter. Go up there. Hit enter. Guess. And it's saying the year 2215. Alright? Now, if you notice, my answer key says 2220. That comes down to rounding, right? Because if you remember my original equation, it stored it with like 15 decimal places, right? I just wrote on the worksheet like just 2 decimal places. So I'm saying we're going to die at 2220 if we use all the decimal places, like, 5 years earlier. But remember I said we've got that little bit of wiggle room depending on rounding. Does that help? Make life way easier? Alright. For number 1, on part, I think it's like D, where you have to plug in 10, you're taking x equals 10 and you're plugging it in. Okay? Does that kind of make sense? Alright, cool beans. So we just have one sample problem for notes today, and then you guys get all of the rest of class time to work. Alright? So you don't necessarily need to write the instructions. I would just put, like, little bits of it. Like, I need number of complex zeros. I need possible rational zeros. I need to factor, and then I need to find all the zeros. Okay? good? So, when it comes to these problems, I give you one of the zeros, yes? Start with the easy parts first. The number of complex zeros. What's the degree on this? 4. So I should have 4 complex zeros. Right? The possible rational zeros. All right, found by taking factors of 40 over factors of 1. So my possibles over 1 plus or minus. What are all my factors of 40? 2 and 20, 1 and 40, 1, 40, 2, nope, 2, 20, 4 and 10. All right, so there's my big fat list. Did you notice I do from the outsides and work my way in? It's my neurotic little way of making sure I keep everything in numerical order, but also making sure, like, I get everything. All right, so now I got to factor the stupid thing, all right? Now, the luxury is I gave you a 0. So, 2 on the outside. Am I missing any terms? Nope. So 1, 3, negative 6, 12, negative 40. So far, so good? All right, remember, we want it to have that 0. So now I've got x minus 2 times x cubed plus 5x squared plus 4x plus 20. Yes? Can I factor that cubic? So I can factor that one by grouping. Get myself a little bit more space. So x cubed so I've got x squared plus 4 times x plus 5. Yes? All right, cool. So finally, factored form is going to be x minus 2, x plus 5, and x squared plus 4. Does the order on that really matter? No. So I've done factored form. What's my last thing that I got to do? I got to find all the zeros. Now, when it comes to finding the zeros, the first two are pretty easy, right? I don't have any idea what's wrong with this thing. So I've got x minus 2 equals 0. That's just x equals positive 2. There's 1 0. I've got x plus 5 equals 0. So x equals a negative 5. That's my second 0. Now for that last one, you've got x squared plus 4 equals 0. This is why we did all of that Unit 2 crap. To make sure you guys had all of the different ways of solving it. X squared equals a negative 4. Square root both sides, and I get x equals positive and negative 2i. Do I have 4 zeros? Yes. Because remember, this is technically 2 of them, right? So this counts as 2. One, two, three, 4. Ta-da! Good deal? Because that's literally all you're doing on that homework.